Not quite disappeared, but definitely not in the ring of popularity anymore. Entertainment websites remain as a vault to media of different eras, containing testaments and movements frozen in time for any to see. Sometimes it's nice to simply step back to a simpler time and see what they saw, think like they did back then. Couldn't be any more true when you consider horror games in such a confined state like a Flash game. It's nostalgic to pick up games we used to love and care for, but there's something far more hard-hitting about the fact that it's a simple Flash game. Just a simple mix of drawings and paintings and Photoshop images, with very robust animations, yet the magic's there, decades behind, and lacking in almost every type of category when compared to its fully fledged counterpart. But it somehow still manages to charm and drag you in. Their works left behind a fully interactive legacy that shows what they did here, what they accomplished, and their passion for these projects. Here I want to dedicate a bit of time to replay all of these works that kept many of us entertained for years, way before the era of consoles, before video games became a mainstream hobby and saturated with marketing. What I really appreciate from these humble titles is that they were done simply out of passion and fun, just to get your foot in the door in game development. You wouldn't be surprised if I told you that most of the developers that made these games ended up becoming professional game developers in the industry today. So, let's dig in. You're a nameless survivor. What your motives, goals, and views are irrelevant. The only thing that stands between you and your secure future is the hordes of the undead. The sunset is signaling your impending battle. Dawn signaling the end to another harsh night. This is the last stand. Now I need to specify, there are 4 Flash games in total, and 1 fully fledged video game currently in development.
Review for that coming as well, boyos, don't you worry.
The order goes: The Last Stand, The Last Stand 2, The Last Stand Union City, The Last Stand Dead Zone, and The Last Stand Aftermath. I can't review Union City or Dead Zone because they're their own type of game, and simply saying they're just like the first 2 games would be a massive disservice. They deserve their own review, that I may do at some point in the future. Like I said, since the first 2 are practically the same minus some key differences, I figured I'd give the spotlight to the best of the 2. In The Last Stand 2, the premise is you have to travel to Union City, the last beam of hope for anybody looking to evacuate. You're given 40 days to collect resources, explore a handful of towns and cities, and sometimes even rescue and protect survivors that can aid you. Its main focus though is the battles at night. While 40 days sounds like plenty of time to get to Union City, this isn't always the case, since the only way to travel in between the cities and towns is by having enough resources and supplies to survive the trip. This makes the looting of towns and cities a crucial element to your survival. However, just because you search 4 buildings in one day, it doesn't mean you'll find anything that can add to your survival. As a matter of fact, be comfortable with the idea of coming out empty-handed, because that's more than likely what you'll be facing pretty often. Getting food, however, isn't your only point of interest, because what would be a zombie shooter if it didn't have a varied selection of firearms? While it's not a big selection, or even an original one at that, it helps with adding nuance to a fight. Some are better than others, some are for specific tasks, and others are just for plain shits and giggles.
You got me.
Now you could just strap yourself with the Uzi or the UMP-45, but you're forgetting that there may be others in your team that can help you. And how can they help you if they themselves aren't armed? This adds an even bigger incentive to go out and hunt for firearms. More bodies plus more firepower equals easier times holding the defense.
Is that the best you can do?
So you got your supplies, some homies with crummy boomies, and you got your safety wall in front of you. But what is that in the distance? Huh. The worst part is that if you die before the night is over after your survivor dies, your survivor will still be dead when you restart, but you'll be 1 hand shorter, making the fight even much more grittier and harder than before. Now you can't just let your guys be and you do your own thing because they need your protection. Sure, they could kill the zombies, but the ally aim is bad on purpose, so you don't rely on them to do the heavy lifting. This was the case and one of the main differences of the first game. Your survivors also couldn't be killed, so you had an entire fire team unloading lead for you while you could just sit back and take it easy. Now, while there's not much in terms of rewards, it's all worth it for that sweet ray of sunlight that slowly drapes over the horizon at the end of the night, signaling to you and your ragtag band of survivors that it's over, for now. This is what it all led up to, the main outcome, the survival of the night. That sigh of relaxation at the end of every night, it's all for that. The game doesn't really hold back a lot of punches either. No smart AI or director to take it easy on you or to level the playing field. Just a harsh code of Java that just keeps looping over and over. So go ahead, give it a try. If you're an old fart like me that enjoys old thrills and some sweet violence, give this game a chance. Sometimes it pains me a bit seeing these games sit there on the shelf, slowly being forgotten over time by everyone. Everyone except us, who still cling to those old memories of simpler times, simpler premises, and simple struggles. Just remember one thing.
Click the fucking head!